Good morning, and welcome to the What's Up News Network, being broadcast from Panama City Beach, Florida, the home of the world's most beautiful beaches. I am Jim Free with Jim Free Realty. Please help me out and click on the red subscribe button just below the picture. In the local news, a good move by TDC. The Bay County Tourist Development Council is making strides toward bringing more lifeguards to our beaches. On Tuesday, the council voted to allocate more money to public safety. County Commissioner and TDC board member Philip Griffiths said this will help provide safety services across the sand. This will take care of the 3 or 4 miles on the east and west end of the beaches that are not in the city of Panama City Beach. And the sheriff and fire department will supplement the lifeguard program that we already have. Griffith says this does not mean that there will be lifeguards at every beach access, as that would cost somewhere around $9 million, but they will try to cover as much ground as possible. The sheriff said he already has plans to implement the program. The money will be split evenly between Panama City Beach, Bay County, and the Bay County Sheriff's Office. It will allow us to put additional resources and get the necessary equipment both for the law enforcement side and the beach safety side, Sheriff Ford said. Sheriff Ford also said the funding will help bring more deputies on the sand as well as fire and EMS services. Ford also said that they were waiting for a clear direction from the county, but they hope to start seeing a bigger lifeguard presence as soon as possible. For now, it is important people are paying attention to the flag system and taking responsibility for their own safety. In the state news, this is something I could do without. It's an annual hunt that started last Friday to try to reduce the number of Burmese pythons that threaten the native wildlife in the Everglades. The Florida Python Challenge, which will continue through July the 18th, offers cash prizes to hunters who seek the largest, heaviest, and most pythons. Prizes range from $750 for the longest snake to a grand prize of $10,000 for the person who kills the most pythons. The hunt will take place across more than 1.5 million acres in South and Southwest Florida. The invasive snakes have become well established in South Florida, largely as a result of being pets that have escaped or were released. Kristen Summers of the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission said the annual competition is part of the large effort to control pythons. This is one of the management tools that we're using, so it definitely helps remove pythons from the wild, she said. Every python matters. Every python that we can remove and engage the public to help us in those removal efforts is helpful. Estimates indicate tens of thousands of pythons could live in and around the Everglades. In the national news, who killed Alicia Babbitt on January 6th? Have you heard the name of Capitol Police Officer Lieutenant Michael Byrd? I guess not, because you haven't seen pictures or stories about him on mainstream media. Alicia Babbitt was an unarmed military veteran that participated in a march on the Capitol building, and she entered the building through a broken window or broken door and was shot in the neck and died. I'm not defending Alicia Babbitt or accusing Lieutenant Michael Byrd. What I would like to point out is the double standard of the mainstream media. You see, Alicia Babbitt was white, and Lieutenant Michael Byrd is a black officer. If this had been a white officer and a black victim, and the shooting had occurred anywhere other than the Capitol, I suspect that you would have known who shot Alicia Babbitt, and the officer's picture would have been in every media, and there would have been rioting and looting. The reason we didn't see this is not because the mainstream media cares more for black victims than they do white victims. It's because it did not support their narrative. Firearms sales and voting. Do you think that firearms dealers should be able to sell guns by mail without seeing the buyer or verifying a signature? I guess not. But just like mail-in voting, so why not? Some of the firearms dealers thinks Biden and his ATF nominee David Chipman, who was not able to give a definition of assault rifle during questioning at his Senate hearing, will put them out of business. So they've changed their business model. They are now selling cordless hole punchers. Well, I have to backtrack some. Last time we talked, I told you that all the people in Booger Holler was so good they had to hold on to the blackberry bushes to keep from being drawn into heaven. You can just imagine how shocked I was when I heard that my cousin, twice removed, Leroy Sutton, was arrested for theft and vandalism. At the arraignment hearing, Leroy's attorney, Bobby Lee Fry, told the judge that Leroy was just trying to help the Booger Holler visitors. The judge said, "Mr. Fry, it's hard for me to believe that your client was trying to help Mr. and Mrs. Sawyer when, according to the police report, your client vandalized and stole property from the Sawyers." When Leroy got on the stand, he said, "Your Honor, I was walking down the Booger Holler Road, and I saw this here car that had an Illinois license plate and a bumper sticker that had a heart on it, and the wording, 'I miss my Chicago.' So I knocked out their windows, stole their radio, and shot out 2 of the tires, just to make them folks feel at home." Well, we've been anxiously awaiting the Redneck Awards, and they are here. In the motorcycle division, the Redneck Harley wins hands down. In the boating division, the Redneck Bass Boat is compact and economical. In the camping division, the Redneck Grill was the winner. But since the winner was announced, Walmart has announced the inventory of their grocery carts has gone down. In the entertainment division, Redneck Horseshoes is the winner. Okay, guys, the ladies are asking that when you finish the game, please replace the horseshoes to their proper place. In the lawn care division, Redneck Lawnmowers wins and can also be used at Thunder Beach. And we want to congratulate the last Redneck Power Play winner and their new automobile that they purchased. Remember, we started 20 years ago when we announced the Redneck Palm Pilot. Some of you are too young to even remember what a Palm Pilot is, but this picture will demonstrate our redneck version of it. Thought for the day. Calling an illegal alien an undocumented immigrant is like calling a drug dealer an unlicensed pharmacist. On the political scene, a few weeks ago I heard General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, telling Congress that he was going to require critical race theory be taught to our service men and women. I immediately thought about Milli Vanilli, and some of you probably don't remember Milli Vanilli, but they were a German-French duo that hit the top of the music charts all over the world. In 1988, and even won a Grammy. Rob Pilatus and Fabrice Mulvine were 2 attractive black men who became instant hits. A short time later, it was discovered that Rob Plattus and Fabrice Movan were not singing the songs. They were lip-syncing. The real singers were Brad Howell, John Davis, Gina Mohammed, Jody, and Linda Rocco. This created a big scandal in the music industry. So I thought perhaps someone was speaking through Mark Milley, because I could not imagine the chairman of the Joint Chiefs saying the things he was saying. After his hearing, his remarks in a book about him that has just been published, it appears that he considers conservative thinkers to be like Nazi brown shirts, and he thinks President Trump as Hitler. He said that these are the kind of people we fought against in World War II. Actually, General, you didn't fight in World War II. You weren't born until 1958. And I don't think you could measure up to the men and women that actually did fight Nazi Germany. Well, things are kind of going crazy. We see other countries going socialist and collapsing, but it seems like a great plan to some of our folks. Somehow it's un-American for the census to count how many Americans are in America. People who say there is no such things as gender are demanding female president be elected. Universities that advocate equality discrimination are discriminating against Asian Americans in favor of African Americans. Some people who are held for things that happened before they were born, and other people are not held responsible for what they are doing now. Criminals are caught and released to hurt more people, but stopping them is bad because it's a violation of their rights. People who never owned slaves should pay slavery reparations to people who have never been slaves. After legislating gender, if a dude decides to pretend that he's a woman, you are required to pretend with him or her. People who have never been to college should pay the debts of college students who took out huge loans for their degree. Immigrants with tuberculosis and polio are welcome, but you better be able to prove that your dog is vaccinated. Irish doctors and German engineers who want to immigrate to the U.S. must go through a rigorous vetting process, but any illiterate gangbanger who jumped the southern fence are welcome. If you cheat to get into college, you go to prison. But if you cheat to get into the country, you go to college for free. And pointing out this hypocrisy somehow makes us racist. Nothing makes sense anymore. No values, no morals, no civility, and people are dying of a Chinese virus, but it's racist to refer to it as a Chinese virus, even though it began in China. We are clearly living in an upside-down world, where the right is wrong, and where wrong is right, where moral is immoral, and immoral is moral, where good is evil, and evil is good, where killing murderers is wrong, but killing innocent babies is right. Thank you, college professors. Wake up, America. This great unsinkable ship, Titanic America, has hit an iceberg. It is taking on water and sinking fast. Lord help us. And he did in Isaiah 5:20 through 23. In verse 20, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, who substitute bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and clever in their own sight, who acquit the guilty for a bribe and deprive the innocent of justice. Critical race theory requires us to wake up and to stand up. Thomas Sowell, the brilliant economist, says critical race theory is revenge society and racism under a new management. Unless people become educated and put a stop to this, we will destroy ourselves from within using our children. This should not be partisan, and it should transcend politics. No sane person should want this taught. Dr. Ben Carson explained that the critical race theory is being taught to convince people that their fates are predetermined by their race. It's an attempt to use race as a mechanism for redefining our society, redefining what it was based on and how it impacts everybody, and it wants our people to believe that your race is the most critical determinant of who you are and what happens to you in our society. Dr. Carson summed up critical race theory as being garbage. It is important that we get involved in the education of our children, not only in our colleges, but also in elementary, middle school, and high school. Cultural Marxism is being taught in America's classrooms and is being repackaged as critical race theory. America's largest teachers union is in bed with the Marxists in vowing to defend that teachers that teach critical race theory. This has nothing to do with helping minorities. It's all about pitting one race against another. They really want to destroy this country. We must get involved with the local school board and the state legislature who fund these public schools and colleges. We were recently honored to have 3 young ladies visit us for several days, one of which was our youngest granddaughter. All 3 graduated from a Christian high school and are now sophomores in 3 different colleges. I asked them if they had had any Christian professors, and one of the young ladies that attends a public college said that one of her professors asked the class how many students were Christians, and about 60% of the class held up their hands, and the professor told the ones that raised their hands that she would try to change their minds before the class was over. Until we meet again, may God bless you, your family, and this great country that we live in.